Hello and welcome to Never Seen It, a podcast about movies we haven't seen yet. My name is Trent. I'm here with my wife, Betsy.
Me!
She's my co-host today and every day.
Always. You're stuck with me.
In all ways.
And in life.
Yes. It has finally arrived, Betsy.
Thank God.
We've been only teasing this for, a month?
Because we have been anxiously looking at calendars and nothing has been going our way until now.
We are finally going to go and watch a very, very likely Oscar-nominated movie. Obviously, the nominees don't come out until, January? February?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the movie we're going to go and see is The Fabelmans. We've talked about this movie a little bit in the past. It's been on everybody's lips when it comes to Oscar buzz. So we're just going to assume that it's going to be nominated. Unlike the first one we did last year we thought might have been nominated. House of Gucci was not nominated.
That didn't work out.
That was a waste on our part. But, it was an okay movie.
We got Dune in there correctly.
Yes, we did.
We did that one pretty early.
Dune was amazing. But we're talking about The Fabelmans today. Betsy, I think everybody kind of knows what this is, but let's go down the basics before we get into it proper. What do you know about it?
So this is kind of a different juxtaposition from last year. Last year, he was also nominated in the Academy Awards for his remake, his version of West Side Story.
Yeah.
And this one is a completely original tale and probably the most personal thing he has done because it's basically his life.
Yeah.
This is the closest to an autobiography that Steven Spielberg is going to make.
But of course, Steven Spielberg, being a filmmaker, is never going to write an autobiography. He's going to make a movie about his life.
Right. I don't know how much of this will be the exact truth, embellishments. It doesn't matter because this is the thing that Hollywood loves and why it's going to get nominated.
Yep.
It is a movie about making movies.
It's a movie about a filmmaker and the origins of a filmmaker. And we didn't really get that with Belfast last year, but Belfast was another kind of like coming of age origin story of Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, very different. So it's another personal autobiographical kind of thing.
Not about
but not
filmmaking.
About movies.
No, it was just about him growing up in Belfast, Ireland, during the big upheaval when he was growing up. So Oscars looked at that in a little bit of a different way than they're going to look at this one, I think. Because, again, like we keep saying, this is about filmmaking and falling in love with movies and a love letter to Hollywood and the like.
Yeah, seeing that on the screen and being inspired to grow up and do it yourself. So I don't know who plays the kid, the interpretation. They're not the Spielbergs, they're the Fabelmans.
Indeed.
They have a different name.
A different Jewish name.
So I don't know who the kid is. I assume some new up-and-coming actor. I do know there's a lot of people in this movie. So Paul Dano, who we found out recently is pronounced Dano, not Dano.
Yeah, we watched an interview of him going over his famous characters on YouTube, and he pronounced his own name Dano, and we've always pronounced it as Dano. So apologies to
forward.
Paul if you're listening to this show.
We're correcting ourselves moving forward. So I know he plays the father. Michelle Williams is the mother.
Yep.
Seth Rogen is in this movie somehow.
He is. I don't know how.
I don't know his character. I don't know his significance. Those are the ones I know for sure, but I'm fairly confident there's a lot more people that I know.
Probably. I do not. Those are the three people that I knew about. Yeah. So I know it is about his life growing up, wherever this is. I
Arizona.
Feel like, I was going to say, I feel like it's in Arizona.
It's Arizona. Well, let's math this. The 50s?
Yeah.
The 50s and 60s, sense. Depending on how old he is, because Steven Spielberg was born in like the 40s or late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, he's about my parents' age, your parents' age. Yeah.
So if you look at when he was starting to make movies, he was like in his 20s. Let's call this the 50s and 60s, depending on when we start.
So think about what was happening in the 50s and 60s, where a Jewish family growing up and having a life in Arizona of all places.
Post-World War II.
Post-World War II, where, the world and the country are not necessarily all on your side. They're still not on people's sides these days.
No.
But, growing up in that era is going to be a lot different than now, for sure. So I don't know if this kid is going to be, depicted as being, having a very sheltered life, because I don't know if there's any, siblings here, or if he's going to be super encouraged by his parents to, live your dreams.
This.
Yeah, pursue your dreams. And I'm going to buy you this. I'm going to buy you that. I don't know if he's growing up poor or what's actually going to happen here.
I think this movie is going to be about the magic of cinema.
That's it?
That's the magic of cinema.
See, that right there sounds like it's going to be a boring movie.
However you want to interpret it. But when the hands of Steven Spielberg, it isn't going to be a boring movie.
Yeah.
This movie has gotten really good reviews. As far as I understand it, a lot of people have really, really put this near the top of their list for movies of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be one of these movies that is absolutely going to be nominated.
In the top 10.
Whether it's going to win or not is anybody's guess.
As we always say at this time of the year, it is far too early to tell. We just have a pretty strong feeling that, all things considered, it would be real stupid for this movie not to be included when the nominations come out.
Yeah. And, of course, it's Spielberg. Almost every single movie he releases gets nominated for Best Picture. It's
lately, certainly.
It's like Meryl Streep getting nominated if she acts in anything.
It's becoming a joke.
She's gonna be nominated. So, I don't know, Betsy. I mean, I'm interested in seeing this movie, if for nothing else, just to judge it on the merits of his other movies, because we've watched a few of them, at least the ones he's produced.
He has got a great range of films. We've covered a few very different movies of his on this podcast. And I'm always interested to see where he goes, because he doesn't always pick the straight and narrow path. And that's interesting. That's what makes him an interesting filmmaker.
Definitely.
And this one in particular, because it's going to be so personal, I think that will be very different from things he's made.
And I'll just say this. I would say the last very personal movie that he made was Schindler's List, because I've watched some interviews with Spielberg over the years when he's talking about Schindler's List, and he did this not only just to make a good movie, but because he holds his heritage in such high regard.
Well, and I don't think he grew up particularly in the faith, or he didn't know he was Jewish or something. It was some weird circumstances that this movie brought him closer to that.
He wasn't necessarily very orthodox, but the story itself spoke to him so much that he felt like he owed it to his people to make this movie and tell the story. So I'm hoping that it's going to maybe not have that much gravitas, because, oh boy.
That's a heavy movie.
That's a heavy movie. I don't think we're going to get that far, but I do think we are going to get a lot of his personal stories about maybe getting picked on, made fun of, harassed. Maybe his family is going to be harassed by the community. I have no idea, but knowing what I know about what was happening in the 50s and 60s, it's probably going to be happening.
Probably.
So, all right, Betsy, do you have any other thoughts before we jump into this?
I'm hoping for warm and nice with this one.
I hope so too. So we're going to go to the theater, go watch The Fabelmans. We will be right back. And we are back. Betsy, what did you think of our first Oscar contender?
A potential Oscar contender.
Oh, potential nothing.
I liked this one. I don't know if I was amazed by this one. It was the nice movie I expected. It's, Steven Spielberg has a deft touch for filmmaking. I don't know. I might have to sit with this one for a little bit.
All right. interesting.
How did you feel about this?
I could tell that you weren't all that into it, just sitting in the theater, just because you didn't really react to hardly anything until the very end, of course. But I think I liked it more than you did.
Potentially. And it's not that I didn't like this. I did like this movie. There's a lot of things to like. There are some scenes that are really funny. There are some really heartwarming scenes. Like, this is hitting hard on 1950s and 1960s nostalgia and how movies and life at that time was just this magical childhood, wonderful place. And obviously, this is also taking you out of that as you kind of grow up and you see your parents stop being these magical, wondrous creatures and you start seeing them as actual human beings.
Yeah.
So that this movie definitely does that. I thought there were moments where I found it a little bit predictable. Like, I don't know, the thing with the 60s housewife is kind of a cliche at this point. And I'm looking at his mother going, there's something wrong with his mom, right? And then there's this big reveal. I was like, yeah, see, I told you there was something wrong with his mom.
Yeah. So my feelings are this is Spielberg at his best because it is his life. This is literally his life. I read something here just a little bit ago about this. When they were doing a lot of the filming work, the cast and crew would go up to Steven and ask him, so did this really happen? This is your life, right? He said 100%. It is all real.
He was trying to be as honest as possible.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, the only thing he changed for the movie are the names.
Which makes sense. I mean,
yes.
Obviously, the Fabelmans, his name is not Fabelman.
Indeed. It is equally as Jewish.
Well, and the name, it has the word fable in it, and, you know, that has a lot of connotations for when you're making a movie.
You're right. And what I mean by this is him at his best, you can tell that this was a labor of love. You can tell he spent a lot of time thinking about every little scene, every little moment, because it's his life. And you need time to recall your life. Another thing I read was that this guy has been working on this movie, so to speak, in his head since 1999.
Right.
He's wanted to make a movie about his life since then.
And you also read this is the first thing he's written in 20 years.
Yes, this is the first screenplay credit that Steven Spielberg has had since 2001 when he did AI.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to demean anything about this movie. I'm genuinely not. I think you're right. When we're in his childhood and he's like discovering movies and making films, like there is such joy in this part of the movie.
It's this discovery that this kid is he's going on a journey. He doesn't know what it is that he wants, but he knows like the pieces.
He's discovering his own creativity.
Yeah, and his mom is there to encourage it and not stifle him like his dad is kind of trying to do.
A little bit. He's more the pragmatist and mom is the airy-fairy artist.
Sure, and like his parents could not be further from each other as far as like personality types. He is this button-down guy that, you know, I've seen people who have like worked for IBM and these old school blue chip companies
in this
era, in the rise of computers and technology. That's the outfit.
Yeah.
That's what they look like. That's what they sound like. That's what they act like. They knew that they had a revolution on their hands. They were just there early.
Yes, and they're, for lack of a better word, they were geniuses.
They were
because they understood the potential for something that most people couldn't even comprehend.
Yeah.
So that is a very, very intelligent father who tinkers with TVs. Like there's this whole thing where in his side hustle is he fixes televisions.
Right.
And so there's just this great shot where he's got this workroom full of old TVs.
Yeah, it's his workshop and that's where he sets up the train set. But like when he and Benny are sitting down and they're kind of talking shop, did you understand any of what they were saying?
Hell no.
Okay, my interpretation of what they're talking about here is they're coming up with the concept of a hard drive and like permanent storage of digital media. So like a hard drive floppy disks, things of that nature, they're like in the transition from vacuum tubes going over to transistors. That was one of the biggest technological leaps in human history, because you could get the transistors so small, so minute, and the vacuum tubes, you can only fit so many in a thing. That's why computers back in the day were gigantic monoliths.
They took up rooms.
Exactly. These guys were the ones that shrunk it and shrunk it and shrunk it. So I get what they're saying, but the mom here doesn't know anything about this, and the dad can't separate his intellect from, he cannot make his intellect go away and be a dad and be a husband. He's always this guy.
He can't help himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see why she pulled away, because she wasn't really getting anything out of him.
Meanwhile, she is in her heart of hearts an artist and a creator.
Yeah.
And she plays the piano, but she doesn't really seem to want to be a housewife. She's not very good at it. Like all the scenes where they're having dinner and they don't have dishes. They have paper plates and paper cups and plastic silverware and paper tablecloths. And at the end of the meal, she just piles it all up and throws it away. I don't know. And it's just very impermanent, I guess.
Yeah.
And they address it at one point in the movie, like, what, your wife doesn't like doing dishes? And he says, oh, it's piano hands.
Piano fingers.
Piano fingers.
You can't get all pruny on your fingers, I guess, if you're going to play piano.
That's
how you play piano, and you do dishes.
I don't know. I think it's more an excuse for her because they don't really show her. She's not a very good housewife. Like, she's always burning meals, and she's, doesn't really...
She took that chicken out of the oven, and she
dumped it.
just kind of flopped it on the plate, and he's there to fix it.
So I think these are all just demonstrations of how this isn't the life she wants for herself.
She was born too early. She would have been a flower child.
Probably.
In the 60s.
Probably. And then she was too scared in her own time to do anything with her music.
Right.
So even though she feels it deeply and understands it, and she loves to perform, this is where she is.
It's the quintessential story of, I'm the parent, I'm going to pass along the thing that I wasn't able to do in my life onto my children because they got that talent from me, and I'm going to nurture that.
But I also, with these two, completely understand how they would birth someone like Sam in the movie, because it's both elements. It's the technical and the artistic, and you need both of those to be an effective director.
You're right, yeah.
So I totally got it. And the two actors in this movie playing his parents are Paul Dano and Michelle Williams. And Michelle Williams is the master of these kind of roles where she's
really is
overly dramatic and a little bit, like you said, a flower child. And she has kind of manic energy where she is high highs and low lows. She gets a fucking monkey. It's just all over the place with her. And Paul Dano is the master of the calm, internal...
Tight. Tight.
Yes, but having seen him in other movies, you know he can go to extremes, but he's so restrained in this.
Yeah.
And he's calm and quiet and collected. And so just, the two of them opposite each other, I really liked. And like at the beginning of the movie, they take him to the theater for the first time, a movie theater.
Yeah.
And they have these like really sweet moments together where the opening scene, they're trying to explain to him movies.
Right.
And she's like, it's a dream. And his dad is literally explaining the technology.
Right. It is a perfect juxtaposition of these two people. But at the same time, they're both pouring whatever themselves are into their kid. And that's wonderful. I love that first scene of them going to the movie and his eyes are just wide.
His mouth agape.
Watching the movie, and he's falling in love with something he doesn't understand yet.
And he doesn't know he's falling in love with it.
Right.
But he gets a train set and he has to see it crash. Like he's trying
to understand
it.
He doesn't know why. He just needs to see it crash.
Because he saw it in the movie.
But his mom got the idea, okay, let's film it, and then you can watch it as many times as you want. And that's the beginning.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Just this little moment. And they just... expand from there. Like, just this whole sequence afterwards where he's making movies with his sisters. It's just adorable. Like, they use every roll of toilet paper in the house and make mummy costumes.
Mummies. And then they're like using ketchup and stuff to make blood because they're doing a dentist scene. And the sister is like screaming because she's being hurt. He
tells her to scream.
Yeah. And the mom comes running and is like, oh, you kids. Being the 1950s housewife that you are. Yeah, I feel like this is less of a I'm falling in love with film and more of a family story.
Definitely. Like, that is part of it. But it's like I said at the beginning, where as you grow up, your vision of the world and your vision of yourself and your vision of your parents and other people in your family changes as you realize that life is real.
Right. And at the same time, some people, they have this passion about something when they're young and they put it away.
Yep, they put it in a metaphorical box and it goes away forever.
Or a literal box.
They
go to the pawn shop and sell their camera because they never want to do it again because they're so disillusioned with the world, with their family, and with themselves.
Yeah, it's just as likely he could have never become a filmmaker, or it doesn't go beyond home movies. This was the era, the 1960s, where everybody had a camera. They had an 8mm, and they were fucking around. I will show you after we finish recording here. I actually have access to one of my aunt and uncle's movies they made in the 60s or 70s called Mr. Zombie. And they go to a cemetery and they made this little movie, and it's just a few minutes long, but it's absolutely the spirit of what he's doing here, where it's just...
How have I never heard of this?
Oh my gosh. No, it goes really far because somebody was getting buried and they had a fresh grave, and my uncle crawled into a grave and there's a shot of him crawling out of the ground. And it's just these kinds of things. And my uncle ended up making a movie. So fun fact.
Yes.
This is the thing. You start as play, and a lot of people never go beyond that. It's just something fun they did.
Right. And a lot of people, they join the band, they go into choir, they go into
theater,
other things in
sport.
School meant to inspire you and maybe teach you a discipline when you're young. And a lot of times you get out of it, you stop, you go to college, you get a job, and you never pick it back up again.
You move on, you grow up.
You might be really good at it, you might like it, but that's a childish thing that I did when I was a kid. Well, there are plenty of people using those same things to make a career now.
Definitely. And in this movie, his dad is trying to get him to go to school, and he keeps saying, kind of not passive aggressively, but he's definitely less supportive about the movies. He keeps calling it a hobby.
Yeah.
And why are you wasting so much time on that? You should be spending more time doing algebra and learning skills and going to an actual college.
Because he doesn't feel like this arty stuff is a tangible thing.
Especially in 1965 or whatever that was.
IBM and RCA and GE, they make things.
And they're changing the world.
They're tangible things that you can buy at a store. You can't buy a movie at the store in the 60s.
No.
You can't buy a movie in the store in the 70s. It's not until home video was introduced in the 80s that you can actually do such a thing. Movies themselves were things that were ethereal. You had to go to a place in order to experience it, much like a sports game or a theater performance. Instead, it's all recorded in advance and shown on a screen. Now, Betsy and I and anybody else can sit in your basement or wherever you want to be. On your phone. And watch the same movies that everybody else had to go to a theater to see.
But that's the thing. The way his dad is a visionary about computers and technology, Sam, in this case, you have to be a visionary to see the potential and actually pursue it. In 1965, he's doing little tricks, like he makes, as a teenager, a Western, and he's editing it together, and all these friends of his have guns, and he says it looks fake, and he figures out a way to take the literal film, and this is such a great reminder of the physical element of film that doesn't exist anymore, because everything is fucking digital. To make the guns look like they're firing, he literally hand-popped little holes with pins.
Little pinpricks.
So that the light, as the reel is projecting it,
goes all the way. You go all around the frame.
Yep, and
Yeah.
it makes it look like the guns are firing.
That's amazing.
And the fact that a teenager could figure that out and
Yeah.
think of it,
yeah.
that's somebody who knows what they're doing and has the imagination to pursue it.
And they really kept on this whole thing about his effects, so to speak. You see him burying like firecrackers in the ground during his war movie, and those are going off like the gunshots being shot at the people. You have like the fake squibs like filled with paint as they hit them on their chest and they explode.
Yep, they have water balloons in
Yeah,
the place
they're
of
like
grenades,
water balloons, yeah.
But then they time it in such a way that it's all looking like explosions. And
Yeah.
I also loved that scene when he's making a World War II movie because most of those kids either bought those clothes at an army surplus store or those are the actual
they're their
clothes their
dads.
fathers wore
They're their dads.
in World War II.
Yep. And back to what you said about him looking at it saying, oh, this is too fake. This is too fake. An artist like him is never satisfied.
No.
Especially somebody who edits his own movies. He knows that there's a way to make this better. I need to do the next thing. I need to make it better and better and better and better. I'm going to make my next movie. I'm going to make that better and better and better and better and just keep on improving my entire career until I literally can't do it anymore. I don't see Spielberg stopping making movies until he physically cannot do it.
No, but it's just a question of what will he try that's different? What will
Yeah.
he do that's new? Will he try, like, I'm sure for him, who has been making movies since the 70s, going from reel to reel physical film
Yeah.
to digital, I am guarantee this movie was filmed in digital because that's how they do it now. That would be a big change. Like, you have to relearn to some degree.
You need to
how
know
do
what the
it.
camera can and cannot do. You need to know what the capabilities are, because if your vision cannot be captured on the camera that you're using, you're not going to use that camera.
No, or you just have to have a bigger vision than what the camera will allow, I guess.
Exactly. And it's similar to when we watched The Hateful Eight,
Yes.
the Quentin Tarantino cowboy movie. That was shot on 70 millimeter film. They had to dig out old film cameras that were able to do such a thing on this to make this wide vista camera that was no longer in use. Nobody filmed on 70 millimeter anymore.
70 millimeter was kind of a short-lived thing to begin with. Like,
Right.
it was not the standard. There were movies
Definitely not.
made, like the big epics were usually made on that to get more field of view.
Yeah.
But it was not the standard. So there's a scene in this movie where he's dating a girl and she just kind of casually mentions, oh, you could film the senior ditch day, and they're looking for somebody to do it. And my dad has this camera, some kind of $1,000, I don't know what it's called, and he immediately like perks up and the geeky like tech dude jumps in.
He gets
He's
a
like,
camera boner.
He has one of these. Yeah, that's it. And it's 16 millimeter, which he's been working on 8 millimeter.
Yeah.
Which, if you're mathematically checking this out, it's twice as big.
Yeah, so he's able to just fuck around with this other camera that just gets his mind working even more. It's the next step in whatever his mind is going to go to next. So this little thing that he's going to do on a lark, I guess, will get him to whatever his next thing is and open more doors for him creatively, because now he knows what the camera can do and can't do.
Definitely.
I also love like him like revealing every single camera that he used. I fully expect that all of the cameras used in the movie,
Referenced.
all of the
Used.
cameras used were cameras that he used when he was that age. Not necessarily the cameras that he used, but at least acceptable facsimiles of those cameras.
I kind of wish that when they were showing the movies he was making, that those had actually been done on 8 millimeter, because you could kind of tell the difference. Those were just
Sure.
like really well shot, nice cameras made to look like 8 millimeter.
There was a lot of filters put on that shit.
Versus just really do it.
You're not going to make a big Hollywood movie and have a whole lot of footage be shitty.
Well, I would have appreciated it. That's all
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
maybe a little bit, or even like at the end, like actually shown some of his old stuff, if it even still exists. I wonder.
I would be willing to bet that Steven Spielberg is the kind of guy who has some of this stuff in a box somewhere or has since digitized it. Maybe when this comes out on DVD, there'll be some extras.
I don't know. We'll see. But as far as like other stuff having to do with the filming of the movie, I recognized a ton of different like camera tricks and shots and things that Steven Spielberg has learned over his long career that he implemented in this movie. It's like filming himself filming a thing. Like at the beginning when he's filming the train scenes of the trains crashing, he's like doing these sweeping shots and like these down, like way down shots,
low
angle shots looking up at the kid and at the train. And yeah, it's just him filming the things that he filmed, but in a way that he would film it now.
Trying to capture himself in his own memories.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very meta concept.
It is. And another thing I read about this was during the filming, Spielberg had to, not excuse himself, but he was emotional during a lot of the scenes because this is directly out of his memory, and he is good enough. He put it down on paper. He's the one filming the shit. He's gonna have these memories flood back to him.
It's recycling, remembering things that you've experienced before.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this is just the most emotional and personal thing he has ever put out.
Or ever will. Likely.
Yeah. And this thing is 2.5 hours long.
Yep.
I did not feel like it was that long. I wanted more.
For most of the movie, I didn't. I think I had that thought like one time somewhere at about the 2/3 mark where I was like, where is this going? Because it's not a lot happens. It's his family, they're in New Jersey, they moved to Arizona, he's making movies, they moved to California. That's when we get into this third act where mom is unhappy, the sisters are unhappy, the stuff you addressed in the intro starts happening. He's in high school and there are just a bunch of kids who are kind of racist and call him literal ethnic slurs.
Yeah.
And they beat him up and they give him shit. And so it's really a hard time in his formative years.
As most people, have a hard time around that age, but this is his story and this is what he experienced.
I also like the joke where he's like, I feel like we've moved to the land of the giant sequoias because he's like a foot shorter than everybody. And Steven Spielberg's not a big guy.
No.
I think he's probably 5'8" or 5'9". He's a little man.
If that. But yeah, him going through this whole transition in his life, and we have the different time jumps. So we have him right at the beginning, seeing the movie for the first time. We have kind of the montage of him making little movies. And there's this cloud kind of over the marriage a little bit. Did you get any of that early on in the movie where there might be something going on, not necessarily between Benny and the mom, but maybe that mom and dad aren't necessarily completely good?
I think it's that situation where if they had stayed put, it still probably would have happened. But the extra tension and the stress of moving your entire family across the country, that starts opening a crack. And then they get to Arizona and the crack widens. And they just it keeps getting bigger and bigger as he spends more and more time at work and less time with her.
Right.
And she's just sort of left to her own frivolous thoughts and her brain, and sometimes her brain is a dangerous place to be, and it does start to grow. Like, I don't think at the beginning there's a lot of that between them, but I could see what you mean by that. I think it's just more as time progresses. It's the thing I talked about where life gets real, and he has 3 little sisters. So when they get to California and they have the scene where they announce they're getting divorced, of course, he's old enough and smart enough to have figured this out already.
Well, he also had the physical evidence.
He did. He's watching footage that they took on a camping trip with their uncle, quote unquote, Uncle Benny, who's their dad's best friend.
Who is always around.
Yep. And
always around.
He sees this tension between his mom and Uncle Benny. So he figures out just by the way she is looking at him. And earlier in the movie, at some point she says, "You really see me." Yeah, he's observant. He understands and is fascinated by the human condition, which again, you're an artist, you observe things.
And I love how they depict Sammy recognizing what he's able to see.
What he's looking at.
And what I mean by that is he can recognize in his mom's eyes as he rolls the tape back and goes forward, rolls the tape back, goes forward. That's something a director and an editor would do just to make sure that you got the shot, that it is legit and it is genuine.
They're conveying the thing you want.
If you've got dead eyes and you're performing in a movie or a show
love
or something,
scene or something,
whatever, if it doesn't work for the scene, you're going to cut it. You're going to go and reshoot it.
You were tired that day and your footage is crap.
Exactly. Be a better actor.
That's right. Be a better actor.
Well, he actually does do his directing thing.
He does.
During the war scene. He goes up to the big dude who is like a foot taller than him, saying, you just let your entire platoon die.
They're dead.
Because of you.
You could have done more and they're never coming back.
And he made that kid cry.
Until
he just kept on walking.
Yeah.
And there was one more scene there where during the thing that you just mentioned, when the divorce is announced, he visualizes himself, like he's kind of back on the stairs and all of his sisters are in the room. He visualizes himself filming this drama.
Yep.
Because by this point, we're introduced to the idea that he loves making movies and doing this filmmaking thing more than he loves his family. And not to say that he doesn't love his family or appreciates the gravity of what's happening. He absolutely does. But he can recognize the thing that he would want to film.
But he is removed from it in a weird way. Because, I was going to say, he's known about this for a while, so he saw it coming because he's observant. And this was a really good scene for the sisters. Like, the two middle girls, like, they have really... It just was a great scene.
Believable.
Like, they had really believable acting and reactions to this sequence where they're like, you are ruining our lives because you're a selfish, terrible person. And why are you doing this? And all the things that a teenager would say to their parents, especially in 1962, where people didn't get divorced. This was still just starting to be a thing in the 60s, that it was more common and accepted. But you're right. He is so removed from it that he's just like, how would I capture this?
Right. And he knows good drama. And like you said, he is allowing himself to be disassociated from himself and astral projects himself. Like, this is what I would do. This is the shot I would do during this scene of my life. Mm-hmm. You know?
And then later on, we get him when he films The Ditch Day and they show it at prom. He's going through... I love his from 1 to 100 that he goes, where he only kind of likes his girlfriend, but he declares his love, tells her to move to Los Angeles with him. Meanwhile, she is a Christian and he is Jewish, and that's kind of what she likes about him.
Right.
But she's also a true Christian in the sense that this is never gonna be a long-term thing. Like, she's very pragmatic about the fact that we're not getting married.
You're just a boy I like to kiss sometimes.
Yeah, you're cute and funny, and I'm going to Texas A&M, and you are going to Los Angeles, and that's gonna be the end of it. So he's had this, he's been dumped at
I
prom.
love the dumping scene.
And he shows his movie, and he manages to capture this, like, he made it a little movie where he got footage of the seagulls flying over, and then he was like chucking ice cream at people's faces,
right,
to make it look like they were pooping on them.
Right. And he also made like the hero shot of the jock guy who was beating the shit out of him,
who punched him in the face.
Right. He was able to recognize, hey, that's my star.
Yes.
I can recognize that the crowd is going to go wild for this guy. Everybody knows him. Everybody likes him for being this jock character. And he's a character.
He looks like a golden god. He's like bare-chested in slow motion, and he's running
blonde
and
with the
winning
hair
the
back.
race. And there's this scene afterwards where he confronts Sam.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why did you make me look like that?
I'm not that person.
I'm not that person. And he gets upset about it.
He starts to cry.
He says, you make me feel bad about myself. which just tells you the strength of him as a filmmaker. He identified, like you said, he looks great on screen, and he's able to tell this story where he looks like this great guy, and his friend looks like a schmuck who's getting ditched by women all the time.
Right. And he says, like, I was a dick to you. I'm a dick to everybody, but you made me out to be this great person.
And I'm not.
Why are you doing this? You should hate me. Why don't you hate me? And it's this like self-hating kind of a thing that is coming out of this kid, and he doesn't like what he sees.
But that's the thing about bullies, is the reason they're bullies is because they're deeply insecure, and they usually have somebody bullying them at home.
It's true, but in this case, he doesn't go the full bore. Like, he's actually trying to take his other friend, the really anti-Semitic one. He's trying to pull his other friend away from this whole situation, but he also, the jock man, needs to maintain his reputation until he's at least out of high school. So he plays up whatever it is. He punches him in the face because that's what you do when you do a thing, whatever he did with his girlfriend.
He's a macho athlete bro dude.
Yeah.
And he has a reputation.
And he can't just let bygones be bygones. No, that's what you do. You punch the Jewish kid in the nose, and you threaten him and say you have to go and lie to her later.
And make it right.
And make it quote-unquote right. Even though what he said was correct. You were in the hallway making out with a redhead.
How did you know she was a redhead if you made it up?
Right.
Because he's a terrible liar. That's why.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of just like winks and nods. Like in that scene, he says, the bully's like, this is our secret. This, you never saw me get upset. And he's like, sure, unless I make a movie about it.
That scene could have ended before he said that line, but no, he had to have that little fourth wall breaking moment.
Like, you expect him to look into the camera and wink at that moment.
Yep. He did that, and there was one more at the very, very end.
So right at the end, he finally gets a job at CBS with Greg Grunberg. Who's I don't know why he has suddenly become the guy who shows up in all of J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg's movies, but there he is.
Well, I know Abrams, those two are like buds.
Well, sure. He's been in, I think, every project he's ever done, but now it's starting with Spielberg, too.
Since Heroes, I think.
Yeah, he kind of keeps showing up there. Well, no, Lost.
Lost? Okay, I didn't know he was on Lost.
He was on Lost, but anyway, off topic.
We like Greg Grunberg.
He's a fine actor and a funny guy, and I like when he shows up. But he gets a job with him, and he's kind of that like elder statesman. Aw, man. Aw, shucks. I remember when I was like you. And I want to give you a leg up. Hey, do you want to meet the greatest director of all time? He's right across the hall. And he introduces him to John Ford.
Betsy, we have talked about John Ford on this show before, and I said it. I didn't even need to see this movie. Steven Spielberg and all of the great directors would tell you to your face who is the greatest director of all time, and they would say John Ford.
And of course, there's kind of a bookend thing here where him and his friends go and see The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which places this film permanently in 1962 at that point, because we watched that movie. And at the end of the movie, they have the poster in his office as he's working out, because he doesn't tell him who he's going to take him into the office of. And they just pan around the office, and here's all the John Ford movie posters. And the very last one, he looks to his left, and it's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and his eyes are wide and his mouth's hanging open.
Of course, by this time, he would have known. I mean, number
one,
John Ford's name is right on every single poster.
Yes.
So, yeah, he definitely figures it out, but I don't think he's got it in his head yet.
He hasn't processed.
He is about to meet the John Ford, played by David Lynch.
Another director. I love when directors put other directors in their movies. It's such a weird, quirky little thing, but it's also such a sign of mutual respect. Like,
oh, sure.
I love your work. I don't have a need for you as a director because I'm the director.
Yeah,
but
I'm never gonna hire you as a director because I'm a director.
Would you like to act, however? Because you know how to do that. You watch people do it all the time.
Yeah, it's easy.
And he's just this surly, grumbly man with an eye patch, and his secretary...
That's John Ford.
His secretary is like, you have 5 minutes, but you'll probably get one. and he just starts screaming at him about, what do you know about art? Go look at that picture. Where's the horizon?
Where's the horizon?
It's at the bottom. Correct.
Go over to this other page. Where's the horizon? It's at the top. Okay. If the horizon is at the top, it's a good movie.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. If the horizon's on the bottom, it's interesting. If the horizon's in the center, it's boring as shit.
Just remember that.
Got it? Get the fuck out of my office. And of course, that's the one fuck in the movie. Perfectly delivered by David Lynch.
Oh yeah, it's great. And that's just the sort of thing where he's like, you want to learn how to be a filmmaker? Here it is.
Easy.
In
one step.
In one line. And he leaves the office with a spring in his step.
Yeah.
And he's basically like skipping down the back lot at CBS in the sunset.
And we get the straight on shot down the lot of this little Steven Spielberg, and of course the horizon's in the center, and oops, I need to fix the camera so it's on the edge.
It shifts up just a little bit.
Just another wink and nod to the audience saying, hey guys, he might as well have come in front of the camera and like waved.
You're right. So it was like those two little moments where it breaks the fourth wall a little bit.
But it's
where
so
it's like,
fun,
does this
though.
need to be in here? I don't know, but I love that it's here.
It's fun. This is his life. This is his movie. He can do whatever he wants.
It's true, but it is like almost a couple of different kinds of movies because he's growing up and it's metaphorically changing. So it's warm and bright and sunny in his childhood, and then it gets a little grayer and sadder and darker as life gets harder for him.
As you move west.
But yeah, like I said, I'm saying lots of positive things. This is what I'm just going to maybe have to sit with or watch again.
We also need to watch a lot of other movies here. This is one of 9, most likely.
Up to 10.
Up to 10. So we'll see what else comes out here. Now, before we start talking about Oscar stuff, because we have to do that for every one of these movies, was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Just the fact that his mom is named Mitzi.
Yeah.
My grandma is called Mitzi. It's not on her birth certificate, but from the time she was like 3 days old, somebody was like, no, she looks like a Mitzi. And it just stuck. And everybody still calls her that. And you never hear that name anymore.
No. Much like your name isn't Betsy.
Okay, but it's different. My name is at least a nickname for my name.
I suppose.
Hers is Josephine. It's not the same thing.
You're right. You're right.
She hates her name, so she goes by Mitzi. But it fits her so much better. It's just one of those like old time, cutesy, vivacious sort of names.
Yeah.
And so it fits this character in this movie. Mm-hmm. And of course, I just think about my grandma because she would have been... 21 in 1952.
All right.
She would have been a very young woman and very, sprightly and wild. And yeah, that's just what that name evokes for me. And nobody is called Mitzi anymore.
Yes. We haven't mentioned the scene with Judd Hirsch.
Yes, Judd Hirsch shows up as her uncle after her mother dies.
Yes.
And he's the black sheep of the family who always scared her mom. And so when he shows up, she's just had this nightmare. Like, her mother called her on the phone and said, don't let him in, bolt the doors, something is coming. And it's him. She interprets it as, well, he's here and he's scary and don't let him in the house.
And he's just this jovial Jewish man who went off to Hollywood because he wanted to make it big in the arts, let's
Show
say.
business.
Right. He was there since 1912 or whatever he said.
I think he's in 27. He showed up in Hollywood.
Yeah. It was the first year that they had the talkies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he shows up just to, sit Shiva and be with the family and tell stories like an old Jewish man would. And I would say the best scene in this movie is his scene in the bedroom.
Oh, definitely.
By far, that was the best scene in the movie, I think. Him and Sammy sitting down and talking about passion and art, and him realizing, saying to Sammy's face, basically, don't let your family stifle you. I know this, I can see it in your eyes. You love this thing, which is the editing machine and the cameras. You love this stuff more than you love your family. Doesn't mean you don't love your family.
No.
It's just your passion is here. It's not out this door.
No, and meanwhile, Mom is out in the living room playing piano, and he's like, you hear that? She could have been somebody. She could have gone out there and been a concert pianist. And he's like, well, she played on TV. No.
You're not getting what I'm saying. You
are not understanding me. Like, she could have been the top of the top, a major beloved symbol.
Yeah.
And you could be that too, but you have to not be scared. She was scared. Don't be scared.
And he and everybody else in this movie who knows something about show business tell Sammy, this is going to tear you apart.
You're going to hate this.
You're going to hate this. It is going to tear you away from your family. He chose to go out to Hollywood and pursue his showbiz dreams, and he ended up working at a circus, putting his head into a lion's mouth.
The quote, lion tamer, yeah.
Right. And you know what? That was if that was what the culmination of his dream was, he was happy because he went after it.
Like he uses the metaphor, being a lion tamer, like sticking your head in the lion's mouth isn't art. That's courage.
It takes balls.
It takes balls. It's the learning how to not get eaten. That's the art.
That's the art.
So yeah, making movies, that takes courage. Learning to be successful, that's the art.
Yeah, just perfect.
Yeah, I hope he gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor. People have been nominated for less.
You're right. And
yeah, he's just literally like grieving over his sister and rips his shirt and he's like, what? I'm mourning here. I'm going to sleep on the floor. And then he leaves and he just like, they have this little moment and he's gone.
Yeah, he points at him. He's like, remember what we talked about, but he doesn't say a word.
He just, all those words, that whole conversation.
And I fully expect that really had an impact on Steven Spielberg.
Someone in his life told him that.
Because if for nothing else, he put it in the movie, so it would have actually been impactful at the very least.
Whether it was actually an uncle or a great uncle.
Sure.
Somebody, and this happens constantly, like even Benny, when he's moving to California and he knows what's been going on, like they're having in the very least an emotional affair, if not a physical affair.
And I fully expect that his mom and Benny had a conversation saying that Sammy knows.
Yeah. And so when they're going away, he buys him this beautiful new camera.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to take it. And he's like, no, if you stop making movies, you will break your mother's heart.
And I can't have that.
And I can't have that. And she does
not deserve that. It's my fault and her fault that this is happening, but it didn't go any further than what we are saying it did.
Right. And we don't get any of that until a little bit later.
No.
But like he offers to buy the camera from him, like whatever money he's got on him.
Well, whatever money that he just got to sell his camera, he's upgrading to the newer one.
So he gives him the money, and then Benny hugs him, and he tucks the money in his
pocket. Slips it back in his pocket.
And I thought that he had the money in his hands, and he goes in for the hug, and when he pulled back, his hands were empty, and I was like, where the hell did that money go? He must have put it in his own pocket, not realizing he had shoved it in Sam's pocket. But yeah, and Benny's not a bad guy. Like, that's the thing that's really, I guess, nice about this. Like, they both know what they're doing, and they have kind of drawn a line in the sand where they want to do more, but they haven't. Like, his mother says to him, whatever you think we've done, it never got as far as you think it did.
Sure.
But once they move to California, she can't bear being away from him, and it just... whatever crack was there breaks in half.
And like whatever she isn't getting from her husband, she's getting from Benny. Benny is the happy-go-lucky guy, played very well by Seth Rogen.
No, he is not hamming it up or anything. He's just sort of there.
The only thing that is Seth Rogen-like about him is his laugh.
He can't help that.
He can't help that. So I think he did a masterful job of just being this character and just acting.
We're going to be getting into an interesting phase of his career.
A lot of comedic actors that got famous in the mid to late aughts are going to really start to flex their acting muscle in the coming years.
Because
I'm here for it.
As they grow, that kind of 15 to 25-year-old shtick.
Yeah,
when
it
you were
gets
that
old.
age, it gets old. And they're not bad actors. They're actually very, very good actors. We just haven't seen it yet. And Seth Rogen's only a few years older than us.
That's true.
And for him to, number one, show up in a Spielberg movie says something about his chops.
All of these guys are about our age. Paul Dano,
Yep.
Michelle Williams,
Yep.
and Seth Rogen. And okay, you said the thing about Michelle Williams. I loved her in this movie.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg said he was thinking about her for this movie back when she did Blue Valentine in 2010.
As this movie developed, he had
Yeah.
her in mind while it was developing. Yeah.
Exactly. And who better to know what his mother was like than Steven Spielberg? And of course, he's going to do the casting for everybody. So, you know, I think she did an amazing job at this. The emotional scenes were great. Her just sitting in that closet, watching the film, us only seeing a little tiny beginning of it.
And we're not seeing the film, we're just seeing her react to the
Exactly.
film.
She's like, she's got her knees up. She's got this happy thing that maybe her son is going to show her something that he filmed. Oh no, this is,
She's watching the truth unfold.
he knows. And it's washing over her in real time as she's watching the film. And yeah.
And she emerges sobbing from the closet.
And like on her knees, like almost begging for forgiveness.
And he says, I'm not going to tell, Mom. I'm like,
not
stop
gonna
crying.
tell."
I'm not going to tell. Like, I feel bad about this.
Yeah,
But
I
they
didn't want to do this.
No, but they've had such tension, and he cannot have any level of respect for her while this is not out in the open.
And like he is completely resentful of her during the entire time that he knows, and he can't take it anymore. So he decides, I'm going to reveal it to you and nobody else. Yeah, that was heavy.
Yeah.
That was heavy because you're not supposed to have any secrets like that when it comes to like a parent and child kind of a thing.
No, you should not have the burden of that information.
No.
And if you do, you should really, as a parent, consider if you keep doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to anybody at all.
Much less your kid.
No. And it's that thing where with Mom and Dad in this movie, you don't know how long it went before if she actually confessed the specifics to her dad. Like, they probably, like you said, had problems on their own. It's just, was this the impetus for it? Did she actually say out loud what she was thinking and feeling?
Well, I think once
She kind of says it in the scene, so probably.
Yeah,
but-
once they get to California, she knows what she's missing. And even on the car ride out, they depict the dad was talking about Benny in a way that makes me feel like he was completely oblivious about the quote unquote affair happening.
Yeah,
the dad had no idea.
It was one of two things. Either she told him before they left and he made a joke about it because he was, quote, winning this situation, or you're right, he had no idea.
No, because when she got out of the car to
she
go and
said,
cry,
no,
she
you're right.
says,
Do you think he knows?
"Do you think he knows?"
He might. That's the thing. He's not home very much, and
Yeah.
it's like a weird relationship already.
Yeah.
He's just this dad who's just sort of there, and he loves his wife. He adores her, but he doesn't see her.
But he also loves his job more.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's the theme here.
All right. Well, we've already kind of mentioned some of it, but let's talk Oscars here beyond. Obviously, this movie is going to be nominated for Best Picture. It's not even a question in my mind.
I
at this
feel like
point.
it would be very hard pressed not to.
Exactly. So let's talk the rest of it here. We got, like cinematography, costuming, actor, actress.
I think that director is an obvious one.
Yeah. Screenplay.
Screenplay, yep. Best original screenplay. This could end up getting a lot. I didn't really note the score. I feel like they used a lot of music for the period. I don't remember the score very much.
And like the music that is in it is all kind of scoring his movies.
And it's all pre-existing. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to get any kind of music or sound.
in the very least, if there was a score of note, it's not very memorable. It's just supporting the scenes.
I think
and it
this
is what it
is actually John Williams.
Is
who
it?
did this. Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense. Yeah. Which, I mean, the man has enough Oscar nominations. Sure, throw him one if you want.
Throw another one.
But I didn't find it remarkable. I can't even remember if there was any. I remember the rest of the songs more than I remember a score, and that's pretty unusual for me. I usually notice a score.
Yeah.
Usually.
So sound and music, score, and out of it. What about actor and actress?
I think Michelle Williams will probably be in the running for actress.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got a lead actor for this movie.
We'll
but
see
maybe
when it comes to the rest of the movies. We'll see.
Maybe you'll have some supporting actors, as I said. I really liked Paul Dano in this movie.
Yeah, he was good.
Is it enough to get him a nomination? I think that depends on the rest of the field.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think Judd Hirsch is the more likely of the two if we're talking
Best
acting.
supporting, yep.
And then as far as like a lead actor, you don't really have one. So I don't think that's going to be something that is.
We also have two people playing Sammy.
Yes, and they're both really good.
Yeah.
Are they amazing acting nomination worthy performances? I don't think so. I don't think it's enough. What else? I mean, maybe editing.
Editing, I would say cinematography would be up there because of all of the techniques that he is pulling out here. Mm-hmm. It's not like super technical, but you can, at least I can tell that Spielberg is playing around with the things that he has learned over the course of his career, and he's pulling it all out.
Yeah, and he has got the team built up from years and years of doing this that they understand and can execute his vision.
What does a Spielberg movie look like? Do that.
You're right. You've worked with me before, correct?
Right. This is like the greatest hits of his stuff, which, again, it's a lot of stuff with family and kids. That's his bread and butter.
Definitely.
And sharks.
And sharks!
There's no sharks in this movie.
No, there's a tornado.
There is a tornado,
no
though.
Sharknado. Different things.
Steven Spielberg presents Sharknado 8.
No, not allowed. Yeah, I think it's got the potential for several nominations. It's either going to be minimum like 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Maximum maybe 8.
I wouldn't go that far.
If you really stretch it.
I would not go that far. None of the other, like, technical things really stand out to me besides cinematography. Best picture, best actress, maybe best supporting actor.
Best director.
Best director, that's 5.
And screenplay? Did you
and
say
screenplay? Yeah.
Yeah. Technical ones always surprise me, though. Like, maybe it's going to get a costume nom simply because of the number of people. And it's a period piece. And usually the period pieces get the nominations.
No hoop skirts, though.
No hoop skirts. But you did get, like, the 60s prom dresses, which...
That's true.
That's nothing to balk at.
Hair and makeup, too.
Yes. So it's always an interesting thing for those categories. They're a little harder to pin down.
Yeah. And we haven't seen any other ones yet. We finally got one in the can here, so... We'll see what the rest of them are.
We'll revisit this again in conversation when we get to the actual
in
Oscar
the coming
season.
months. Yes. So, all right, that's going to be it for The Fabelmans. Before we get out of here, we're going to read an email from Stephanie about another movie with a very famous director. This one is about The Outsiders. Stephanie says, I loved this book when I read it, parentheses, I think I was in middle school, and thought the movie was a pretty good adaptation. I don't think I have seen it since middle school either. Same here. I also read That Was Then, This Is Now, which is in the same Oklahoma town and mentions some of the characters.
Interesting.
Yeah, same author, but not quite a sequel. Also very good.
Sometimes authors do that where they don't have exactly the same characters, but it just sort of lives in the same universe. Where it's the same place or somewhere similar, or there's
extended Outsiders universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
The OCU.
She says, it is also a who's who of 80s hotties. My sister and I still tell each other to, quote, stay gold. This is a sad movie, and the kids were all just so good and pretty realistic. It really bothers me when movies portray teens as super mature, and I like that these are just kids having shitty things happen to them. Trent, watch Stand By Me. It is so good. It's on the list.
Well, we're working on it.
What can I say? There's a lot of movies. I watched The People We Hate at Weddings the other day. It was pretty good. Allison Janney is a national treasure. Agreed.
Truth.
My daughter and I watched Disenchanted 2. It was a decent, although unnecessary sequel. Love you guys, from Superfan Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie. I haven't come to terms if we're going to watch Disenchanted for the show yet. That was a movie, like, we watched the original Enchanted, and it's because it's a movie that you really like from way back in the day.
Yes, it is.
And you really wanted me to see it, and we finally did. But then the new sequel is getting, like, very kind of negative reviews.
It's got a mixed bag, certainly. I'm definitely going to watch it sometime. It's just a matter of if it'll make it to this podcast or not.
Any movie that the two of us watch together that one of us or both of us haven't seen, we will do for the show. Whether it's included in a series or if it's just going to be a one-off, we promise you, if there's a movie that we watch together, we will cover it. That being
With
said,
rare exception.
That being said, Disenchanted isn't necessarily something that I have any interest in watching because I don't have any attachment to the original other than we did it for the show.
Fair enough.
So, anyway, give you a little insight as to how we decide on how to do this stuff. Well, that's going to be it for emails this time. Next Wednesday, we're going to be doing yet another potential Oscar-nominated movie. Again, this is on everybody's mind, so you can probably figure out what it's going to be, at least one of them anyway. If you would like to email us your thoughts about this movie, any of the other Oscar movies that are going to be coming out here, email us neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Our social medias are going to be on Facebook and Instagram. That name is neverseenitpod1. Twitter is neverseenit_pod. You can support the show financially by clicking the link in the podcast description. It'll take you to a page on Anchor. You can throw us a buck on there. We'll be your best friend.
We like friends. And money.
I like money more than friends.
That's terrible.
I'm just being honest. Anyway, that's going to be the end of the show. I want to thank you for listening to this here episode. We got more stuff coming. Twice a week we're still doing this, Betsy. Almost 2 years.
Hell yeah.
We'll be back with another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
And we'll be back to you next time.
Bye.